Good evening. I am Mayor Pro Tem and District 2 Councilmember Paulette Chavers. Thank you all for joining us tonight as Mayor Jonathan McCollar delivers the 2021 State of the City Address. This past year has been a year like none other, but I'm proud to say that our City Council, Mayor, and City staff have continued to work diligently to make the City of Statesboro the best city to live, to work, and to play. At this time, I would like to call on Reverend Taylor Lewis Guthrie Hartman, pastor of the First Presbyterian Church here in Statesboro, Georgia, to deliver the invocation, followed by Mayor McCollar.
Sorry. Friends, will you pray with me? Oh God, our help in ages past, our help for years to come. We gather today yearning to be and do what is right and what is good for our fair city and for our neighbors. And we come as ordinary people, as people who long to love our neighbors as ourselves and walk alongside one another upon the path of justice, of kindness, and of humility in your name. Guide our city council and government leaders as they endeavor to fulfill the calling of their office together as one borough. Sustain them when their work is strained and seems without gain. Support them in their anxieties that they may listen to the still small voice within. And strengthen them in their resolve to seek and pursue the well-being of all people in Statesboro. And above all, God, grant them your wisdom, a guidance that again and again stands not on the side of profit, but of people, that endures great pain for the binding up of the brokenhearted, and that works tirelessly and particularly for the poor and the oppressed. May you instruct all of us in our daily walk that we might serve Statesboro, one little slice of your kingdom and our beloved home. And all God's children, beloved, say amen.
Amen. Good evening, Statesboro. Thank you for tuning in to this evening's State of the City address. On behalf of the City of Statesboro, its council, the office of the mayor, I bring you greetings. At the beginning of a new year, our city, state, and nation are in a much different place than where we were this time last year. We are currently in the midst of fighting a global pandemic that has taken nearly 500,000 American lives, 85 of which are from our beloved community. In this fight, we are working diligently to save lives while shoring up our local economy and lessen the pain of our most vulnerable neighbors. 3 years ago, I shared with you that poverty was the greatest threat to our beloved community. At that time, the data told us that more than half of the people in our city lived below the poverty line. Since then, COVID-19 has shed light on just how vulnerable many of our neighbors are. From day one of this administration until now, we have been working diligently to build an environment where our local economy can grow and the people can prosper. In this effort, the city has taken on its most aggressive revitalization effort in its history and is working to make our city up to date with all of its ordinances and policies so that we are designed to meet the needs of the 21st century. In this process, we had to rid the city of archaic policies and ordinances that strangled the growth of small business and establish new ones that promoted growth and opportunity for locally owned business. This effort is evidenced in the revamping of outdated alcohol ordinances, the streamlining of new business processes, and the creation of a brand new market for food trucks inside the city of Statesboro. We are currently at the start of developing a downtown master plan that will lead to the redevelopment of our beloved downtown and bring life back into the heart of our beloved city. While fighting COVID-19, we never lost sight of the fact that our city is part of a new global economy where every city is in a fight to attract new jobs and higher wages for its citizens. A key component in this fight is for every city to ensure that it has the infrastructure to handle the growth that is related to new business and industry while improving the quality of life of the people that call it home. For the city of Statesboro, this meant working collaboratively with the county to put forth the T-SPLOS and SPLOS package that the people would approve. With the blessing of the people of the city and the county, we are now able to put forth the most aggressive infrastructure agenda in the history of the city. Currently, you can travel across the city and see orange barrels of progress as new sidewalks are being built and worn roads are being resurfaced. We are building sidewalks from West Jones to Hurdy Drive to Packing House Road. We are resurfacing roads from Woodlawn to Weissfield. We are making our way through every neighborhood and thoroughfare in the city to ensure that there is balanced improvement for each community within the city. While we are working to improve the neighborhoods that our residents call home, we understand that we must invest into the infrastructure of our business districts as well. In a partnership with Georgia Southern University and the Georgia Department of Transportation, we are building out Aikens Road, where a new multi-million-dollar business district was developed to include a new Publix and Tormenta FC stadium. In our downtown, we're working collaboratively with homegrown entrepreneurs as he builds out the new West District and pump life back into our downtown. This summer, we will break ground on a streetscape project that will help beautify the Blue Mile and help bring more attractive jobs and activity to our downtown area. It is projects like these that are going to aid our efforts in putting our people to work and move our city forward to be a destination class city with a booming economy. In the recently passed T-SPLOS, the plan to establish a public transportation system was a part of the initiatives identified. After an extensive study that included input from residents of the city, local business leaders, and other key stakeholders, it was determined that the city of Statesboro was in need of a public transportation system to meet the needs of its citizens. So after nearly 3 years of planning, the city of Statesboro will launch its public transportation system, hopefully by mid-summer. This new transit system will play a key component in the economic growth of the city and be a significant asset for the citizenry's ability to reach key hiring city centers across the city, as well as our higher educational institutions. This effort will put more people to work and help in stabilizing the workforce for some of our largest employers. And thanks to the efforts of the Coastal Regional Commission, the state of Georgia, and our dedicated staff, the first year of operation of our new system will be paid in full by CARES funding and will have an estimated cost of $160,000 per year thereafterwards, making this one of the most cost-effective systems in the state of Georgia. It is through smart and innovative initiatives like this that we are continuing to work hard to prepare our city for the 21st century economy and put our people to work. Through these measures, the city has shown that even through a pandemic, we are taking the necessary steps to ensure that Statesboro and the people that call it home are prepared to compete in this ever-evolving economic world. For every city, there is a direct connection between its economic stability and its housing stock. To make sure that Statesboro is properly positioned to compete with not just neighboring cities, but with the world, the city went through the competitive process of becoming a Georgia Initiative of Community Housing Community. At the start of 2020, the city of Statesboro became a part of the newest cohort of the Georgia Initiative for Community Housing. Since this announcement, the city has launched its neighborhood revitalization plan. This initiative is fueled by the belief that every person that lives in the city of Statesboro should live in neighborhoods that are free of dilapidated and substandard housing. We must all share the common belief that all our children shall be raised in neighborhoods that are safe, that are clean, and free of the harms that are associated with old and abandoned properties. To empower our citizens and the staff to effectively address the matters associated with neighborhood revitalization, we are working to update a nuisance code with the that's been approved by the Department of Community Affairs. We will utilize the International Property Maintenance Code in a measure to remove all of the vagueness of the current code, and it will be a significant tool in our efforts to restore our older neighborhoods. A cornerstone to our neighborhood revitalization efforts is the renovation of the park system that serves the people that live, work, and play in our city's main corridor. In a collaborative partnership with the County Commission and the newly established Urban Redevelopment Agency, the city is preparing to launch a comprehensive redevelopment of Louetta Moore and Kent Street parks, respectively. These renovations will bring aquatics back into the heart of the city, improve youth programming opportunities, and beautify the areas that they serve. The city of Statesboro's smart and innovative approach to its neighborhood revitalization efforts garnered the attention of the Georgia Municipal Association and Georgia Trends magazine, which resulted in the awarding of the prestigious Visionary Award to the city of Statesboro. These efforts are not only leading us to improve the lives of those that call Statesboro home, these efforts are now becoming the model where other communities are reaching out to us to follow the model that we have established. In its true form, the city of Statesboro is still a trailblazer. The positive impacts of this initiative will be seen in the increased quality of life for the residents of the city and the opportunity for local contractors to do the work of rebuilding our community and create jobs for our friends and neighbors. To say that 2020 was a tough year would be an understatement. In a 12-month period, We saw our nation deal with everything from a tumultuous election season, a continued fight for social justice, economic instability, to a global pandemic. The experts will examine years from now this chapter in our history, and with great debates will ensue about the cause and effects of this era. In those conversations, I believe that the greatest discovery will be the understanding of what the role of mental health plays in our society. For the city of Statesboro, and like many cities across the nation, we saw a severe spike in the number of homicides within our community, while simultaneously seeing an overall decrease in crime. I want to thank Chief Broadhead and the men and women of the Statesboro Police Department for their tireless efforts to keep our city safe. It has been through their hard work and dedication that we have been able to make arrests and bring to justice the perpetrators of those heinous acts. All but one. I want to be abundantly clear. There is no place for violent crime in our city, and it's all of our responsibility to help keep our city safe. To build relationships within the community and utilize best practices, the city has established a violence prevention task force that will work collaboratively to address this matter within our city. Statesboro, there is no easy fix to this matter. However, our commitment to you is that we are going to do everything in our power to find real solutions to keep our citizens safe. Much of what has been discussed has been done in the shadow of COVID-19. Only God knows the long-lasting effects that this virus will have on us and our society. What I can tell you is this. The one thing that has become extremely evident is that all of our destinies are much more intertwined than not. At the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic, we wanted to make it clear that our top priority was to save lives. What we understood with this approach was that we could fight to save businesses. We could restore jobs and provide aid to families in need. But what we could not do is replace any life that would have been lost to the virus. It has been our mission to be open, transparent, and honest throughout this very difficult chapter. We relied on the advice of local, regional, and national health professionals. We relied on the advice of emergency management personnel, the Center for Disease Control, and the Department of Public Health. As we took measured steps to save lives within our community. Because of the early actions of the city of Statesboro, we believe that this gave our local healthcare facilities and providers, our educational institutions, and our governing bodies time to build out the necessary infrastructure to address the capacity needs that were going to arise from the coronavirus. Shortly thereafter, the city launched its Love Your City campaign to raise funds for local businesses and families that was going to struggle in the early stages of the economic impact from the coronavirus. In less than 2 weeks, we were able to rally the city around this effort and raise more than $42,000 for local businesses and families. The city then went on to leverage $250,000 in a $1 million loan loss reserve for any business located inside the city of Statesboro that needed additional aid during this time. When we received CARES funding, the city designated $250,000 for grants to families and businesses and have partnered with Feed the Borough to distribute 3,000 boxes of groceries that are prepared to sustain a family of 4 for a week. To date, we have been able to aid 68 businesses and 131 families with our grant programs and have distributed 836 boxes of food for families in need. Keeping our focus on priority one, which was always to have been to save lives, we instituted a mass mandate for the city. The hope of this measure was to relay the importance of adhering to the recommendations that were coming from the CDC, Johns Hopkins, the World Health Organization, and our departments of public health. It was also to combat the dissemination of misinformation in regards to the coronavirus. In a very tough election season, too many politicians played politics with the coronavirus for political expediency, and it was the people that lost. For the city of Statesboro, we chose to stick to the facts and best practices while working to save as many lives as possible. This evening, I want to make it abundantly clear that none of these efforts would have been possible if it was not for the tireless work of community volunteers, such as Squash the Spread, who distributed more than 80,000 masks across the county and within the city limits. They knocked on doors, they set up distribution stations, made deliveries to local businesses, and provided masks to every school in Bullitt County. Ted Wynn, the executive director for the Bullitt County Emergency Management, we should thank God to have an individual like that in our community. He worked tirelessly, hand in hand, with many individuals across this county to save lives. Carrie Melton with United Way. United Way has walked with us every step of the way through this very difficult chapter in our history. Dominic Hallaby with the Georgia Southern Big Center has walked with us every step of the way in this very difficult chapter. Steve Pennington with East Georgia Medical Center. He has been working collaboratively, not just with the city, but Georgia Southern and other institutions across the city to make sure that our people were safe. And to the remarkable work of Don Poe and the volunteers of Feed the Borough, they have been answering the call to help those families that are most vulnerable in our community. The Department of Health has done amazing work by expanding testing sites and now are working to distribute vaccines. East Georgia Healthcare is continuing to provide testing and is working with us to continue to make sure that we do all of the things to protect the people that call our city home. I want to give a tremendous round of applause and support for Georgia Southern University, an institution that has 27,000 students within our community. This institution had the courage to require masks within their classrooms and within their buildings, and it is no doubt that this effort helped slow the spread of the virus within our community and help save lives. But I cannot go on and talk about what all the other folks have done and not recognize Charles Penny and Jason Boyles and the amazing staff that we have at City Hall. Statesboro, we are fortunate to have the kind of folks that work for City Hall that we do. They are talented, they are dedicated, and they are there at the beckoning call when we need them to go above and beyond the call of duty. It goes without saying that last year was a very tough year. And in the midst of that, we managed to continue to move our city forward. But if there's any lesson that we can take away from 2020, the lesson should be that we are stronger together. Statesboro, Georgia, and the United States, the lesson that we must embrace is that we are all children of God and we are all Americans. It does not matter the hue of your skin, who you love, or what God you choose to believe in. What matters is that we must work together to move our city and our community forward. Let us remove ourselves from the pettiness of politics and make sure that we do the things to make sure our neighbors can end this very difficult chapter with us. Statesboro, I love you. May God bless you, and may God bless the United States of America. Thank you. Let me do my math.